A couple of nights ago, I got into bed and I knew it was time to go to sleep. I turned off the lights, lay down, and fully expected to be asleep within a few minutes because that's usually how it goes for me. But this time, it just didn't happen like that. I laid there, I flipped over, I flipped my pillow over, I tried a different position. Honestly, so many different sleeping positions, and yet, still wide awake. And hours went by, you guys. I'm not exaggerating. Actual hours. My body was exhausted. I mean, I could feel how tired I was. And I didn't have the energy to get up and do anything. But my brain was so flippin' alert for no reason. I had to be up within the 5 o'clock hour the next morning, and my mind would just not power down. And there wasn't even one big dramatic thought I kept having. Instead, it was this steady loop. Why am I awake? What time is it? When am I actually going to fall asleep? How tired am I going to be tomorrow? And the harder I tried to fall asleep, the more awake my brain felt. I didn't end up falling asleep until sometime between 2:30 and 3:30 in the morning. And when my alarm went off at 5:30, I remember thinking, "Oh my gosh, I actually fell asleep. Thank God." But that next day was pretty brutal. And honestly, that next night, as I was getting back into bed, I was praying, "Dear God, I hope tonight is not a repeat of last night. I cannot do another night like last night." And if you've ever been there, exhausted but unbelievably and unnecessarily wired, then this week's do-over is for you.
You're managing what you always do, but your brain feels scattered and you just can't seem to pull it together. The Busy Brain Do-Over from Steady State Co. is your space to recover, reset, and restart, proud of how you show up again. Because you're not the problem, and you're not alone. Here, you'll find real tools and honest conversations to help you feel capable, steady, and like yourself again. Here's your host, Candace David, a fellow busy brain who believes life doesn't have to run perfectly to run well.
You know what struck me most about that night? It wasn't just how little sleep I got, because, you guys, I did not get enough sleep. It was how confused I felt. You see, my body was clearly done for the day, but my brain did not get the memo. And that disconnect, that's what so many busy brains experience at night. We think bedtime is supposed to be this clean, easy handoff. You finish the day, you turn off the lights, and your brain just shuts down. But for a lot of us, that's not how it works. Your body gets into bed, but your brain is still running the day, still tracking, still replaying, still preparing, still scanning for what's next. And I hear this all the time. Women tell me their partner is already asleep, out cold. And there they are, lying in the dark, wide awake, wondering why their own brain won't cooperate. And in that quiet moment, it starts to feel really personal. Like there's something wrong with you, or at least your brain. Why you can't just fall asleep. Why rest feels so hard. Why your brain won't do the thing, a simple thing you need it to do. Here's the reframe I want to offer you. Nothing, in fact, is wrong with you. Your brain is actually doing exactly what it's been trained to do. You're someone who carries a lot: responsibilities, people, plans, emotional loads. Your brain doesn't automatically know when the day is over. It doesn't just shut off because the lights go off. It shuts off when it feels complete, when it feels safe, when it knows nothing important is being dropped. So when you're lying in bed, mentally reviewing tomorrow, replaying today, or worrying about how tired you'll be, that's not a failure. That's a brain that hasn't had a chance to close the loop. And the harder you try to force sleep, the more alert your nervous system can actually become. This is because now rest feels urgent instead of safe, which is why so many of us don't feel calm at night. We feel pressured to fall asleep, pressured to recover fast, pressured to do bedtime or an evening routine just right. And pressure is not a recipe for rest. So if your nights feel like the one I described, wired, frustrating, and lonely, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not bad at sleeping. You are not broken. And you are not the only one whose brain struggles to stand down at night. What your brain needs isn't more discipline. It needs support transitioning out of the day. So if this is landing for you, if you're recognizing yourself in this, the next question naturally becomes, okay, well, what do I do with this at night? Not, how do I fix it? Not, how do I force sleep? Okay, so maybe those last two questions did pop into your mind, but that's okay. The question is, how do I support my brain when it refuses to stand down? That's where this week's do-over comes in. Hi, my busy brain friends. Before we keep going, hit that follow button so your next do-over finds you right when you need it. If you've already subscribed, thank you, and consider this your high five for being ahead of the game. You never know when the next episode's going to be the one that gives you that deep exhale you've been craving. I call this one the shutdown do-over. And just to be clear, this is not about forcing sleep, fixing your nights, or doing bedtime, quote unquote, right. This is about supporting a busy brain when it refuses to stand down. Here's your 3-step shutdown do-over. Step 1, name what's still open. When your brain is buzzing at night, instead of asking, why can't I fall asleep? Try asking, what is my brain holding on to? Is it tomorrow's schedule? A conversation I'm replaying? Something unfinished? Something I'm worried I'll forget? You don't need to solve it. You don't need to organize it. Just name it. A lot of mental noise comes from things that feel unseen. And when we name it, we see it. And some of that mental noise will quiet. Step 2, close the loop gently. Once you've named what your brain is holding, offer it a soft closure. That might sound like, I see you. I'm not ignoring you. Thank you, brain. That does matter. That is important. And if your brain is especially worried about forgetting something important, or you do have this big dramatic loop playing in your head, you can write it down. Just a few words on a piece of paper. Not a to-do list, not a planning session, not a novel. Just enough to let your brain know, I've got you. This info is safe. I don't have to keep holding this all night. You're not promising to fix it tonight. You're simply letting your brain know it doesn't have to continue shouting to be heard. Busy brains calm down faster when they feel acknowledged, not controlled. And being kind to your mind is a step in that direction. Step 3, release the pressure to sleep. Okay, this step might feel counterintuitive, but it matters, so listen closely. Instead of telling yourself, I have to fall asleep right now, try shifting to, my job right now is to rest, not necessarily sleep. Rest can be breathing. Rest can be stillness. Rest can be letting your body feel heavy and feel supported in the bed. Remember, the more urgent sleep feels, the harder it is for your nervous system to relax. That's why this matters. Sleep happens more easily when safety comes first. This week's Shutdown Do-Over isn't about perfect nights, because those don't exist. It's about less pressure, more support, and helping your brain feel finished enough to let go. That's where the real rest starts. And if evenings are especially hard for you, if this whole my brain won't shut off at night thing feels very familiar, I've got you covered. I'm hosting a live workshop later this month where we'll build a simple, realistic evening routine that actually helps your brain power down. Nothing rigid and nothing overwhelming, just support for that transition out of the day, built around your busy brain. Here's your permission slip for tonight, and honestly, for this whole season. You don't have to earn sleep by doing the day perfectly. You don't have to finish everything to be allowed to shut down. You don't have to force your brain into quiet to prove you're doing it right. If your brain takes longer to stand down at night, that doesn't mean you did the day wrong. It doesn't mean today was a failure. And it doesn't mean tomorrow is already doomed. It means your brain is still in motion and it hasn't fully crossed the bridge out of the day yet. You're allowed to stop treating your nights like a problem to solve and start treating them like a transition your brain needs help with. You're allowed to rest even if tomorrow feels full. You're allowed to let some things stay unfinished until morning. You're allowed to trust that your brain can learn how to close the day, not by force, but with the right kind of support. So as you head into tonight, whether you fall asleep easily or lie there wide awake, I hope you carry this with you. You are not behind. You are not broken. And you are not bad at resting. Your brain needs a kinder way to shut down. And friend, that is something you can learn. Now you might be thinking, okay, Candace, this all makes sense, but what about the practical stuff? What about evening routines? What about the things I can actually do before I even get into bed to help my brain shut down? Well, that's exactly what I teach inside my live workshop. And before I tell you about it, I want you to notice something important. Just by listening to this episode and by practicing the shutdown do-over, you've already taken the first step. You're no longer trying to force sleep. You're learning how to support your brain instead. The workshop is simply the next layer of that support. On Friday, January 16th, I'm hosting a live workshop called How to Build an Evening Routine That Actually Lets Your Brain Shut Off. This is not a generic one size fits all routine. We'll look at what's keeping your brain alert at night, how to help it wind down before you ever get into bed, and how your mornings and evenings work together to make nights easier or harder. You won't just walk away with tips. You'll walk away with a personalized evening routine built for your unique busy brain. Something realistic, flexible, and supportive that you can actually use in real life starting that very night. So if you're ready to go beyond just surviving your nights and start setting your brain up to shut down more easily, I would love to do this with you. You can find all the details and save your spot at mybusybrain.com/routines. That's mybusybrain.com/routines. I can't wait to see you there. All right, my fellow busy brain friends, take a breath, give yourself a little grace, and remember, you can always start again. That's what a do-over really is. Not perfection, just permission. Talk soon.